What's up everybody? Today we're going to be talking about the leaked lens from Samyang and RFS super wide and what that might mean about the RF system and whether or not we're going to be getting third-party lenses soon. So again, I'm Joe. I am a portrait and landscape photographer here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Social links all down below as well as a list of all the gear that I use. Let's jump into talking about this lens and a few other potential lenses from Canon, as well as what this might mean for the RF mount going forward. So Samyang has had lenses on the market for Canon and many other camera manufacturers for quite some time. I actually owned a Samyang 14mm f2.8 prime lens, a super wide manual focus lens, but Samyang has a bunch of lenses out there both for Canon and other platforms, and in some cases they're actually under their other brand, which is Rokinon. This particular lens, which is a 12mm f2, so not only is it super wide, it's super fast. But they've been making this lens for a while. You might also remember that Samyang got into a little bit of trouble back at the beginning of the RF mount when they started releasing lenses that were compatible with the RF mount because they effectively were going pin to pin as an EF. So the RF system will accept EF lenses without any issue, and the adapter that photographers like myself use to adapt EF glass to the RF mount, well, there's no glass in there and there's really no computation in there. It's just pin to pin. It's to give it just a little bit of space so that you can accommodate the flange distance difference that you have with RF versus EF. So Rokinon basically made their own lenses with the adapter built in, and everybody was happy because we had tons of third-party lenses on the market and everything was great. No, and told by Canon, hey, cut this out, you do not have permission. But recently we've had more movement on the RF platform and lenses have been released from Sigma, for example, in the RFS segment. But that means that there's not a whole lot of variety out there, especially if you're looking for something that is super wide. So we really have one of the widest possible fields of view out of an RFS lens that's out there. And it's kind of the first time that we're seeing anyone other than Sigma making RFS glass that I'm going to assume is approved by Canon. I wouldn't think that Samyang would try to do this twice. So super wide open for the RFS mount, and it hopefully will be able to take full advantage of all of the autofocus capabilities in cameras like the R7. Does look like it's coming with a lens hood, and it has a 0.2 meter minimum focusing distance, or about 2/3 of a foot. So you can get about 8 inches away from whatever it is that you're shooting, and you'll be able to be in focus. Now, my hope here is that we'll see more movement on the RF mount, that we'll see more third-party vendors coming out with lenses. We need professional quality lenses from third parties that are full frame compatible. I think that's the only way for the Canon lens ecosystem to be competitive. It can't just be Canon. Not while other companies are making exceptionally high quality glass for Sony and Fuji and Nikon. Also, just a little bit of news on the Canon front when it comes to lenses. We do have three really kind of interesting patents coming from Canon on the lens side of things. Again, more lens designs, more formulas that they are patenting. It sounds honestly like they're kind of throwing everything out there that they can possibly make with the RF mount. The first is a 24-80 f2.8. Now, the 24-70 f2.8 is pretty much the gold standard of standard zooms with IS in a 2.8. I guess maybe that would be something that people would be interested in. And the other is a 24-130 f4. Now, we have a 24-105 f4 and a 24-105 f2.8. I have the 24-105 f4. I love that lens. It's a great kit lens for the R5 and R6. But it is f4, so if you need that absolutely beautiful out of focus depth of field look, they do have the 2.8 version, but it is considerably larger, heavier, and more expensive. So maybe they're giving us some other options with a slightly longer reach for those folks who need something a little bit bigger. I have a 70-200, I love that lens, but sometimes, honestly, when I'm all the way zoomed out, I can't back up far enough, and I need 60 or 50 millimeter focal lengths. But I really like having the extra reach, so I'm glad that they're just experimenting. The other patent that we saw was also related to lenses, and it was an automated tilt shift system. So if you've ever used a tilt shift lens or a tilt lens, traditionally, in addition to focusing the lens, there's also a tilt function where you kind of have to move the lens across the focal plane to get the whole thing in focus when you have really large objects that are going to cover a large amount of the focal plane. But you do have to do that manually. Kind of almost like you would with a focus system, it indicates that you'd be able to touch either a menu control or some sort of focusing button on the camera, and it would automatically adjust the tilt system on the lens to match what it is that you're shooting. So basically it kind of takes the guesswork out, just like focusing works now. So I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. I don't do a lot of work with, I've rented a couple of tilt and shift lenses, but honestly, I don't have a lot of experience with it, so I can't say whether or not this would be something worthwhile. But let me know down in the comments if you're somebody who does a lot of maybe architecture or real estate photography. I'd be very curious to hear whether or not this innovation would be something that you'd be interested in seeing come to market. But that's the lens news that we have coming out for Canon, so I appreciate you watching. If this is something you're interested in, I'd appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. If you found this video informative, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. Again, social media links all down below. My Instagram, I've just started really kind of jumping back into it. My account got hacked last year while my wife and I were in the hospital during the birth of our daughter. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to get to it quick enough. And the account was not only hacked, but Facebook deleted it. So I've lost my Instagram account and I've started a brand new one, and I'd appreciate it if you could give me some help on that. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.